Hey guys, so I'm going to do my question and answers video, which feels really strange to do because I'm just used to talking about day-to-day life or whatever's I feel like talking about. I'm not used to being guided. What I will say, a lot of people asked about was volunteering. So I won't choose an individual question because they're all similar. And I'm going to make a separate video on volunteering because it's a big topic and a lot of people are asking. But I will say briefly that we're only looking for specific skills. Featherstail is fully staffed with Tanzanian people. It's not like we're desperate for staff for the care of the children at the site. Naturally, we're fully staffed for that so as they get the best possible care. So what we're looking for is specialized skills for what we are doing with the vision for Featherstail. And that includes moving forward in 2016, we're going to be doing a lot of building work. So I'll be looking for qualified builders if they would like to come over and help and or oversee some of the building work. And also I'm starting a agriculture project as well, and a permaculture to make it into a sustainable agriculture project. Now that ties into another question someone asked. Someone said, how much would it cost for Featherstail to be completely self-sustainable? And this is part of the permaculture plan that we have. So I've got my laptop for my questions, but I'm going off just memory for this now. I don't remember the name of the person who said it, but I'm mentioning this now as well because I'm going to do a separate video on the plan for Featherstail as well, which will include that. But in brief, the goal has always been to make Featherstail, in my mind and heart, not to be constantly a charity, but to create a community which is self-sustainable. And by self-sustainable, what I mean is that over the lifetime of the community, it outputs enough energy to care for its residents and the children and persons working there, or anyone else who is living in Featherstail. So it creates enough energy output, food, etc., water, solar power, clean energy to support those persons. Also to grow, and over its lifetime to replicate itself. That would be the perfect system, and this is what I aspire to build. If using the teachings of permaculture, which I'm very interested in, and I've recently had a Skype call with Graham Bell, who's, if you look at permaculture, his name's third on the list on the planet. The UN have published his work about where I can move with this, because I don't want to be a charity inside the system that always has to ask for money. My belief is that we can show the world that you can create small communities, and by living from the land, just as they used to in Uchira, in the traditional tribal sense, farming the land and using the land, that you can support yourself without having to be living in desperate poverty just because you're not attached well to the global central banking system and financial system. An independent community. And if it can take using the teachings and the knowledge which is available and the technology which is available on the planet at the moment to take enough energy in the form of food and clean water and so on, to be able to feed its residents, to be able to expand and grow to allow for new residents, and over 50 years be able to replicate itself. I'm sure those among you with a mind to view things or envision things, if someone can create that perfect system, if someone can do it and it does replicate itself in 50 years, and someone can write the manual on that, the problems of the planet can be looked at in a completely different way. Because if one community supporting 100 people or 50 people or even 20 people can replicate itself by using nothing but nurturing and being part of the natural ecosystem of the planet, then we can, as a collective, as humanity, we can keep replicating such communities all over the planet until everyone is cared for. And yeah, it'll take management, and there's a lot of learning to be had in building a community, which is what I'm learning now. How do you govern things? How do you create laws effectively, if you like, regarding how things are handled within the community? Then yeah, there's a lot to think of. But if the system can work, then it can change lives. It can completely change the planet, because you're using Mother Nature, you're integrating yourself with the ecosystem to not only provide for the community, to expand upon the community and possibly even replicate it in another area, due to the fact you're expelling more energy than what you're using. So creating energy, if you like. You use the small amount, you create the large amount in the form of food, water. So to that person, my idea is, and my belief is, based on projections, that that can be done for buying the land around about £20,000 to have all of the land in place. But then you need to still have persons running things and eating, so on and so forth. As you know, I don't get salary, but Tanzanian persons will get salary until the point where that land creates enough food to start to be sold, and then they can start taking from there. So you probably need, I believe, £50,000 to do it on a complete skeletal situation where you own the land, and then you can progress and progress and progress until eventually the land is providing for those members within the community who need providing for. And of course, you can't completely abandon the Western system, but you can at least one day begin to look at, medical care, for example. You need medical care. You have to spend money for medical care. But you can at least one day begin to look at the idea that society can indeed create medical doctors and medical assistants, but the society we know now doesn't have to be the only way when it comes to food production and energy production and things of this nature. When one person must produce the energy to feed everybody, of course you're going to have difficulty managing the pollution. But when each individual person could end up being responsible for their own energy in different parts of the world, then it's a completely different story. And it would take, obviously in the West, some backwards engineering at some point, but let's see how things go with it. That's a million miles away from where I am. For now though, around about £50,000. I've probably answered that question quite a bit actually. But I'm going to do a full video on permaculture and where we're going and growing, and how one day I hope to never have to ask for a donation again for Feather's Tail, because it will be able to provide for itself from the land, and the excess can be sold, which can help provide the medical care for the children, because that's obviously not free. So.